You built on the wrong man's dirt. That's what I said when I handed the court clerk my original deed. The one dated 1998, 6 years before the HOA even existed. Behind me stood 12 brand-new commercial buildings worth $5.2 million, steel and concrete glinting in the morning sun. They thought they had won. They thought I'd given up. But I hadn't. I'd been waiting, watching them pour every dollar, every ounce of arrogance into a foundation built on fraud. People forget that sometimes the ground remembers its true owner. This land wasn't just property to me. It was a promise, one I made to my late wife, Nora. And while they celebrated their ribbon cutting, I smiled, because they had just built their empire on the wrong man's dirt. The sound woke me before sunrise, the deep metallic growl of machinery outside my window. For a moment, I thought it was road work. But then came the crash, the sharp crack of wood splintering. I threw on my jeans and ran to the window. Through the fog, I saw orange hard hats, a bulldozer, and the broken remains of my fence, posts that had marked my property line for over 20 years. But what hit hardest wasn't the fence. It was the empty patch of dirt where Nora's teak bench used to stand. She'd chosen that exact spot because, she said, the light hits differently here at dawn. Now it was gone, buried under tire tracks and diesel fumes. I stormed outside. A man in a Crestview development jacket looked up from his clipboard. His name tag read Hayden Cross, project director. "This is private property," I said. "You're trespassing." He smiled, the kind of smile that told me he'd heard all before. "This is the Crestview Commons project," he said. "HOA approved, 25-year lease. You can check the paperwork." I stared at him, calm but cold. "I own this land. Bought it in 1998. He chuckled. "The HOA owns the land rights. Deed restriction. You signed off in 2006. I didn't argue. Not yet. I just turned and walked home, because Nora once told me, anger is fuel, but a plan is the engine. Inside, the air smelled of coffee and sawdust, the remnants of old projects I never finished. I went down to the basement and opened the metal filing cabinet. Inside a brown envelope lay the original deed, edges yellowed, seal embossed, date stamped November 12th, 1998. I didn't open it right away. I just set it beside my old black notebook, the one I used for project planning when I freelanced. Then, on the first page, I wrote 3 words. Phase 1. Let them think they've won. Nora would have smiled at that. She believed in precision, not rage. She fought galleries who underpaid her for her art, not with shouting, but with contracts, patience, and evidence. That's how she won every time. And now, that's how I would win for her. That afternoon, an email arrived from Felicity Ashford, HOA president. Subject line, official notice, Crestview Commons project. It was short, sterile, and smug. Dear Mr. Merritt, the Crestview Commons development has been approved under Article 14.3 of the HOA Charter. Objections must be filed through internal arbitration before any legal action. Deadline, 15 days. Felicity Ashford, President, Meadowbrook HOA. I read it twice. Then I Googled her name. Felicity wasn't just an HOA president. She was also the county's top realtor and a consultant for Crestview Development, the same company tearing up my yard. There she was in photos, shaking hands with their CEO at a charity gala 2 years ago. So that's how this worked. She wasn't enforcing the law. She was selling it. I took screenshots, saved her profile, added everything to a folder I named evidence. Outside, the machines roared, carving my land like it already belonged to them. I looked out the window where Nora's bench once stood. "This land stays open," she'd said. "A place to breathe." Now, someone was trying to bury that promise under concrete. Not with guns or threats, but with forged signatures and fake approvals. They thought I was too old, too quiet, too tired. They were wrong. That night, I sat at my desk, staring at the deed. The county seal gleamed faintly under the lamp, proof of ownership. Back then, in 1998, there was no HOA. Meadowbrook wouldn't exist for another 6 years. This piece of land, parcel 441-23-018, was mine. No covenants, no restrictions, no signatures beyond my own and the notary's. I ran my finger across the seal and whispered, "I kept my promise, Nora." Then I slid the envelope back into the drawer. Not yet. Not until they'd poured every ounce of greed into my ground. Every nail, every dollar, every brick would be evidence. And when the time came, the truth would bury them deeper than concrete ever could. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. The community hall smelled like stale coffee and fear. I arrived 15 minutes early and sat in the back row. 47 homeowners trickled in, whispering, avoiding my eyes. Felicity Ashford walked in. Crisp navy blazer, polished smile, the kind that hides teeth. She sat at the head table beside Raymond Collier, the HOA's real estate attorney, and Evan Pierce, the secretary. She tapped the microphone. "Good evening, everyone. Let's begin with the Crestview Commons update. Mr. Merritt, you requested time to speak. You have 5 minutes." I stood. "This land," I said, "the 40x 80-meter plot they're building on, belongs to me. I purchased in 1998, 6 years before this HOA even existed. There are no restrictions binding my property. I never gave permission for anyone to build there. I'm asking this board to halt construction immediately." Silence. Then, Felicity leaned forward. "Mr. Merritt, the deed restriction was applied retroactively under the Community Benefit Clause. You agreed when you purchased your home in 2006. I shook my head. "That applies to my home, not this parcel." The attorney flipped open his folder. Fielding and Associates confirmed the project's legality. "The deed restriction is valid." A woman in the third row spoke up. "If he owns it, shouldn't we verify that before building?" The room buzzed with unease. Felicity smiled thinly. "All procedures were followed. This project will raise property values." I didn't sit down. "Then I'd like a copy of the deed submitted to the county," I said. Evan nodded. "We'll email it to you by Friday." Felicity tapped the mic again. "Next agenda item." And just like that, my land was dismissed like a parking complaint. But I saw it, the flicker in her eyes. She knew I was right. The meeting ended. Neighbors filed out quickly. Only Mrs. Whitlock stopped beside me. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "We were afraid to speak up. They threatened to raise our fees." I nodded. "Thank you." In the parking lot, I caught Raymond loading his briefcase. "About that deed copy," I said. He adjusted his glasses. "You'll have it by Friday." That night, I barely slept. At 11:07 p.m., the email arrived. Subject, deed copy, parcel 441-23-018. Attachment, HOA_deed_copy.pdf. I opened it. At first glance, it looked identical. Same parcel number, same date, same seal. Then I saw it. At the bottom of page 2, subject to HOA covenants, conditions, and restrictions, recorded June 1st, 2004, document number 2000489432. That line had never existed. I zoomed in. The font spacing was off by a millimeter. The notary stamp alignment didn't match. I opened my original deed beside it. Clean, unaltered, true. Then I checked the PDF properties. Creation date, February 18th, 2024. 20 years after the supposed filing date. They'd forged it, and in their arrogance, they left digital fingerprints all over the evidence. I leaned back in my chair and laughed. Not out of joy, but relief. They had done it themselves. They'd built 12 buildings on falsified paperwork. I stared at the two documents side by side. One, the truth. The other, a lie dressed in legal language. Soon, they'd see what it means to build on the wrong man's dirt. Not revenge, revelation. I took a photo of both deeds and uploaded them to my evidence folder. Next to it, I wrote one line in my notebook. Phase 2, let the truth surface. The excavators outside had gone silent. The land rested under the moonlight, patient, waiting, just like me. Weeks later, Crestview Commons opened its doors to the public. The ribbon was cut, cameras flashed, and Felicity smiled for the press. She didn't know the county registrar had already received my certified copy, notarized, sealed, and time-stamped in 1998. She didn't know the forgery audit had begun. By the time her champagne glass touched her lips, a county investigator was on his way to her office. By sunset, The construction site was roped off with yellow tape. 12 commercial buildings. $5.2 million. All frozen under investigation. And me? I sat on the hillside where Nora's bench used to be, a new one built in the same spot. The lights still hit differently there at dawn. When they finally tore down Crest View Commons, the land breathed again. I smiled, because justice, like the earth, always remembers its owner.